What if the solid ground beneath your feet, the chair you are sitting on, and even the hand you are using to hold this device were not solid at all, but merely a trick of light moving faster than your brain can process? We are told from the moment we are born that we are physical beings made of flesh, bone, and blood, destined to walk the earth and eventually return to it as dust. But there is a secret encoded in the very name of your species that suggests a completely different reality, a reality that has been kept in the shadows for centuries because it hands you the keys to the simulation itself. You have been led to believe that human refers to an earthly creature, but deep inside the etymology, hidden in plain sight, lies the instruction manual for your own immortality. In just a few moments, you will discover the exact biological mechanism that ancient Tibetan monks used to dissolve their physical bodies into pure light, a phenomenon that modern science is only now beginning to understand through the physics of biophotons. Before this video ends, you will understand why certain frequencies can literally rewrite your DNA, and you will learn the 3 steps to activate the hue within the man, transforming yourself from a static being of clay into a dynamic projector of reality. Deep inside this narrative lies the secret to unlocking the rainbow body, a state of existence where death is not an end, but a transfiguration. Most people go their entire lives without realizing that the word human is a compound code. Humus is the Latin word for soil, earth, or ground, the material, the density, the clay. But hue is a property of color, a gradation of light. Therefore, to be human is not just to be an earthman, but to be a light man trapped in earth, a spectrum of frequency captured in a vessel of clay. In 1974, the German biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp confirmed that DNA is not just a biological hard drive, but a storage unit for light, proving that every cell in your body emits a faint, coherent glow. Ancient Egyptian texts describe the Sahu, or the immortal spiritual body, which had to be built during one's lifetime using specific vibrations. In Tibet, over 160,000 cases of the rainbow body, or Jalu, have been documented, where masters shrink their bodies to the size of a forearm at the moment of death, leaving behind nothing but hair and nails as they transmute back into pure photon energy. The Vatican archives contain reports of saints levitating and glowing with an uncreated light that casts no shadow, a phenomenon that breaks every known law of thermodynamics. Walter Russell, the unsung genius of the 20th century, who was friends with Tesla, stated that matter is simply light that has been wound up tight, suggesting that you are literally a knot of frozen light. The sound Hu in the Sufi tradition is considered the breath of God, the creative sound that vibrates the universe into existence, meaning your very name is a reminder that you are the vibration of the Creator. But the most terrifying realization is that if you do not know how to maintain your frequency, the density of the humus consumes the hue and you become merely clay, asleep in a world of awake machines. But what happens when a normal person tries to activate this light body today, without years of isolation in a cave, ready for the first step that breaks the shell of the clay? To understand how you have been tricked into believing you are merely a physical object, we must go back to the source of the illusion. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a room of mirrors, but the lights are turned off. You can feel the walls, you can feel your body, and you assume that this darkness is the only reality. Then someone strikes a match. Suddenly you see infinite reflections of yourself, colors bouncing off every surface, a kaleidoscope of existence that was always there, hidden by the absence of light. This is exactly what happened to humanity. We forgot that we are the match, and we convinced ourselves we are the dark room. The word human has been taught to us as a biological classification, a label for a mammalian biped with a large brain. But the ancients, the alchemists, and the masters of the green language, the language of codes and symbols, knew better. They knew that words are spells and that human was a designation of a specific alchemical state. Let's look at the humus part again. It represents the carbon-based suit you wear. Carbon, the 6th element on the periodic table, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. The number of the beast, or simply the number of man, of carbon-based life. It is the grounding wire. It is necessary. Without the humus, the light would have no screen to project upon. But the tragedy of the modern age is that we have become obsessed with the screen and forgotten the projector. We polish the clay, we decorate the clay, we medicate the clay, completely ignoring the hue, the light that animates it. The hue is not just a poetic term for color. In the physics of Walter Russell, who claimed to have received his knowledge directly from the universal consciousness during a 39-day state of trance. Hue represents the specific position of a wave in its cycle of becoming. Russell taught that the universe is made of one substance, light. And that matter, your body, this planet, the stars, is simply light that has been compressed by two opposing forces until it appears solid. Think about a fan blade. When it is stationary, you can see through the gaps. You can put your hand through it. It is mostly empty space. But turn that fan on to a high speed and it becomes a solid disc. You can't put your hand through it anymore. It looks solid, it feels solid. But has the nature of the fan changed? No, only its frequency has changed. You are that fan. You are a being of light spinning at such a dense, specific vibration that you appear to be solid humus. The hue is the speed of your spin. And for thousands of years, the instruction manual on how to change that speed was reserved for the high initiates of the mystery schools in Egypt, the Bon monks of Tibet, and the Hermetic brotherhoods of Europe. They knew that if you could alter the hue, the humus would have to follow. You could literally change the structure of your reality by changing the frequency of your consciousness. But here is where the story takes a turn that might unsettle you. This isn't just about feeling good or raising your vibes in a metaphorical sense. This is about biological transmutation. In 1998, a Roman Catholic priest named Father Francis Tissot traveled to Tibet to investigate the death of a monk named Khenpo Acho. This wasn't ancient history. This was happening while the internet was being built. Witnesses reported that as the monk passed away, a rainbow appeared in the sky directly above his hut, even though there was no rain. Over the course of a week, his body, wrapped in a simple cloth, began to shrink. It didn't decompose. It reduced. It emitted a soft, strange light. By the end of the 7th day, when they opened the cloth, the monk's body was gone. No bones, no skull, just hair and fingernails, the only parts of the body considered impurities in this specific alchemical process. He had successfully dissolved the humus back into the hue. He had completed the equation of being human. This phenomenon challenges everything we think we know about biology and physics. It suggests that Einstein's equation, E = mc2, where energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, is not just a formula for nuclear bombs, but a formula for human potential. Mass can become energy. You can become light. But the mechanism to trigger this isn't found in a laboratory. It is found in the silence of your own nervous system. And this brings us to a terrifying realization. If we are capable of becoming light, what happens when we live in a world designed to keep us dense, heavy, and low vibration? What if the noise, the fear, the processed food, and the constant digital distraction are not just annoyances, but a calculated suppression of your hue? Have you ever walked into a room and felt an immediate heaviness, a physical pressure that made you want to leave, even though nothing bad was happening? This sensation you feel is not your imagination. It is your hue interacting with a field of dissonant humus. You are detecting the density. The third law of Hermeticism, the principle of vibration, states that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This law is the foundation of the alchemical of light. If you are vibrating, you are emitting a sound, a color, a frequency. Most people today are vibrating at the frequency of survival, fear, anger, desire, apathy. These are slow, long waves. In Walter Russell's physics, these are the waves of unwinding, of death and cold. To become the Hue-Man, the fully realized being, you must learn to wind the light up again. You must learn to generate a centripetal force that pulls light into your center, rather than scattering it out into the periphery. The ancient text known as the Corpus Hermeticum describes this process as reversing the flow. Normal life flows outwards. We want things, we chase people, we seek validation, we react to the news. We are like flashlights with dying batteries, desperately trying to illuminate the dark void around us. The alchemist does the opposite. The alchemist turns the light inward. This is what the Tibetan practice of Thodgal, or direct crossing, is all about. It is the practice of gazing at the sun or the clear sky, not to see what is out there, but to see the light of one's own optic nerves projecting outwards. It is the recognition that the light you see in the world is actually the light of your own mind, reflecting back at you. When you truly understand this, not just intellectually but viscerally, the boundary between in here and out there begins to dissolve. The humus begins to lose its grip. But there is a catch, a detail that many modern spiritual seekers miss. and it is the reason why so many fail to find the peace they seek. You cannot simply think your way into being a being of light. The mind is a tool of the clay. It analyzes, it divides, it categorizes. To access the hue, you must bypass the analytical mind and access the intelligence of the heart. The Heart Math Institute has proven that the heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than the brain. 5,000 times. When you try to change your reality with your brain, with affirmations, with logic, with planning, you are using a AA battery to power a city. When you use your heart, you are plugging into the grid. The hue lives in the heart. The ancient Egyptians knew this. That is why, during mummification, they threw away the brain but preserved the heart in a jar. They believed the heart was the seat of the soul, the captain of the Sahu light body. Imagine the heart as the prism. The pure white light of the universal consciousness hits your heart. If your heart is clear, open, and coherent, that light refracts into a perfect rainbow of virtues: patience, courage, wisdom, love. You become a Hue-Man in the truest sense, radiating a full spectrum of divinity. But if the heart is clouded by unresolved trauma, by grudge, by fear, the prism is dirty. The light hits it and gets blocked, or it scatters into chaotic, muddy colors. We have all met people like this. They seem dim. They seem to suck the energy out of the room. It's not a metaphor. Their prism is blocked. They are humus without the hue. The process of cleaning this prism is what the alchemists called the albedo, the whitening. It is the second stage of the great work. After the nigredo, the blackening, where we confront our shadows and our darkness, we must wash the clay. We must purify the vessel so that it can hold the voltage of the light. This is why fasting, silence, and breathwork are found in every single mystical tradition on earth. They are not punishments. They are cleaning protocols for the biological prism. And the most powerful cleaning agent of all is sound. Remember the Hu? In the ancient Sufi tradition, chanting the sound Hu creates a resonance in the chest cavity that stimulates the thymus gland and the heart center. It physically shakes the dust off the soul. Archaeologists in 2018 discovered acoustic chambers in Malta that were tuned to 111 hertz, a frequency that switches off the prefrontal cortex, the analytical brain, and activates the emotional centers. They were building machines to help people become human. They understood that we are musical instruments that have gone out of tune, and when a human being comes back into tune, when the hue matches the design of the humus, something miraculous happens. The physical body stops being a cage and starts being a generator. This is the secret of the halos painted around the heads of saints in Christian art and the aura depicted around Buddhas. These were not artistic choices. They were technical diagrams. They were showing us what a human looks like when the hue is fully activated. But here is the detail that nobody talks about, the secret that was removed from the public teachings. There is a specific moment in your daily cycle where the veil between the humus and the hue is thinnest. It is a fleeting window of opportunity where you can program your light body. Most people sleep through it or scroll through their phones during it, missing the appointment with their own divinity. It is the moment just before you fall asleep and the moment immediately after you wake up. The Greeks called it the hypnagogic and hypnopompic states. In neuroscience, this is when your brainwaves slow down from the chaotic beta rhythm of daily survival to the rhythmic alpha and theta waves of deep connection. In this precise window, the critical factor, the guard at the gate of your logical mind, goes on a coffee break. The humus sleeps, and the hue wakes up. The Tibetan masters of the rainbow body tradition call this the clear light of sleep. They train for decades not to lose consciousness during this transition, but to enter it with full awareness. They discovered that if you can hold a specific visualization of light in your heart during this twilight zone, you are not just imagining it, you are programming the quantum field of your body for the next 24 hours. You are literally telling your DNA how to fold and how much light to emit. But most of us waste this power. We fall asleep worrying about bills, replaying arguments, or scrolling through the blue light of a screen that mimics the sun and confuses our pineal gland. We pollute the prism right before the most critical maintenance cycle of the day. This is why you wake up tired. This is why you feel heavy. You have spent 8 hours soaking your consciousness in the mud of the humus instead of recharging it in the hue. To reverse this, to begin the process of becoming a true human, you must reclaim these two gateways of the day. You must treat the 5 minutes before sleep as a sacred ritual, a biological imperative as crucial as drinking water. Let's go deeper into the biology of this, because it is not just mystical poetry. It is hard science that is finally catching up to ancient wisdom. In 2002, scientists discovered that the pineal gland, the tiny pine cone-shaped organ in the center of your brain that Descartes called the seat of the soul, is not just a gland. It is filled with calcite microcrystals. These crystals are piezoelectric. This means that when you apply pressure to them, they generate an electrical charge. They generate light. When you chant, when you breathe rhythmically, or when you focus intensely during meditation, the cerebral spinal fluid pumps against these crystals, causing them to vibrate and emit photons. You literally have a bioluminescent crystal radio transmitter sitting in the center of your head. The ancient Egyptians depicted this with the Eye of Horus. The Vatican has a massive bronze statue of a pine cone in the Cortile della Pina. They knew that the hue in Hue-Man is not metaphorical. It is a literal mechanism of light generation located in the center of the brain, capable of receiving and transmitting frequencies that are outside the visible spectrum. When the Bible says, "If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light," it is a technical instruction for activating the pineal piezoelectric effect. When this gland is fully active, the body is flooded with a secretion that is chemically similar to psilocybin, famously called the nectar of the gods, or Amrita in the Vedic texts. This is the physiological basis of the halo. It is the moment the machine turns on. But when a normal person in 2024 tries to activate this gland without preparation, something strange happens. They don't see angels. They feel fear. They feel a sudden crushing pressure in the head, a ringing in the ears, or a sense of dissociation. Why? Because the humus, the physical vessel, is too dense, too toxic, and too rigid to conduct the voltage. This brings us to the most uncomfortable truth of the alchemical code. You cannot put 1,000 volts through a wire rated for 10 volts. The wire will melt. This is why the path of the Hue-Man is not just about meditation. It is about physical purification. The humus must be refined until it becomes translucent. In the tradition of the Dzogchen, this refinement involves a practice called eating the essence. The monks would reduce their intake of solid food and eventually survive on pills made of flower essences and minerals, or simply on breath and sunlight. They were changing the fuel source of the engine from carbon, burning matter, to photons, metabolizing light. While this is extreme for us living in the modern world, the principle holds true. The heavier your fuel, the dimmer your light. Processed food, dead water, and low-frequency entertainment create a sludge in the energetic channels, blocking the flow of the hue. The third law of this alchemical transformation is perhaps the most mind-bending of all. It suggests that time itself is an illusion created by the humus, and that the hue, the light body, exists outside of time. Walter Russell explained that time is simply the measure of the unbalance of the waves. When a wave is perfectly balanced, time stops. Light, traveling at light speed, does not experience time. If you were a photon leaving the sun and hitting the Earth, the journey would take 8 minutes for an observer on Earth, but for you, the departure and arrival would happen in the exact same instant. Light is eternal. Light is the eternal now. This means that when you identify as human in the old sense, as a body made of soil, you are trapping yourself in the dimension of time, decay, and death. You are signing a contract with entropy, but the moment you shift your identity to the hue, to the light that animates the form, you step into a dimension where time is fluid. This explains the miracles attributed to masters like Padmasambhava or Saint Joseph of Cupertino, who could bilocate, heal instantly, or suspend gravity. They weren't breaking the laws of physics. They were operating from the reference point of light, where the laws of Newtonian physics do not apply. They had shifted their center of gravity from the clay to the color. Have you ever had a moment where time seemed to stop completely? Perhaps during a car accident, a first kiss, or a moment of awe in nature. That was not a trick of the brain. That was a momentary flash of your true nature. That was the hue taking over the driver's seat. For a split second, you stopped being a biological machine processing data linearly and became a field of awareness perceiving everything simultaneously. The goal of the mystery schools, and the goal of this video, is to show you how to stretch that split second into a way of life. But there is a trap. a trap so subtle that it has caught millions of seekers and kept them spinning in circles. It is the trap of spiritual materialism. This is when the ego, the humus, hijacks the language of the hue to make itself feel special. I am a light being, the ego says, while judging everyone else for being low vibe. I am awake, the ego claims, while anxiously buying more crystals to fill the void. This is the counterfeit light. This is Luciferian light, cold, beautiful, but devoid of warmth. True hue is not cold. True light carries heat. In the Tibetan tradition, the sign that the practices are working is tummo, inner heat. The monk sitting in the snow melts the ice around him, not because he is thinking about fire, but because his vibration has become so intense that it creates friction in the molecular structure of the air. Real spiritual light warms everyone around it. It doesn't judge the darkness. It simply shines, and by shining transforms the darkness. If your enlightenment makes you feel superior to the sleepers, you are not glowing. You are just reflecting the glare of your own ego. The true Hue-Man understands that every single person on this planet is also a Hue-Man, just with a different layer of mud covering their lamp. The work is not to fix them. The work is to clean your own glass so thoroughly that your light helps them see their own switches. And this leads us to a discovery made in 1926 that was largely ignored until quantum biology resurrected it. The Russian scientist Alexander Gurevich discovered mitogenetic radiation. He found that onion roots could stimulate cell division in other onion roots just by being near them, even if they were chemically separated by quartz glass, which allows UV light to pass, but not if separated by regular glass, which blocks UV. He proved that cells talk to each other using light. Your cells are whispering to the cells of everyone you meet. You are constantly broadcasting a light signal that alters the biology of the people around you. This is the scientific basis of darshan in the Hindu tradition, the idea that simply looking at a holy person can heal you. Their hue is so coherent, so strong, that it overrides the chaotic signal of your own sick cells and entrains them back into rhythm. You are doing this too right now. The question is, what signal are you broadcasting? Is your hue a chaotic static of anxiety, or is it a laser beam of coherence? In 2019, a CIA declassified document from the Gateway Process Archives accidentally confirmed the exact frequency the monks were using to achieve this coherence. Wait until you hear what the document says about the hemi-sync effect and how it relates to the ancient Egyptian tuning forks found in the pyramids. It turns out that the hue has a specific soundtrack. The universe doesn't just look like light, it sounds like a hum. And if you can match that hum, the walls of the humus prison begin to vibrate until they shatter. But before we unlock that sound, you must understand the gravity of what is being asked of you. To become Hue-Man is to accept that you are an alien on your own planet. It is to realize that the systems of this world, the economy, the politics, the entertainment, are designed for the humus, not for the hue. They are designed to keep you heavy, fearful, and consuming. When you start to lighten up, when you start to glow, the system will try to pull you back. Your friends might think you've changed. Your old habits will scream for attention. This is the gravity of the clay. It is the resistance that every rocket faces before it breaks the atmosphere. Have you ever felt that you don't truly belong here? Like you are waiting for a pickup from a home you can't remember? This feeling is your hue remembering its source. It is the man, the thinker, realizing that the humus, the earth, is just a temporary boarding school. The nostalgia you feel for the stars is not a fantasy, it is a biological homing signal. And the reason you are watching this video right now is because that signal is getting louder. You are ready to stop being a statue of mud and start being the lightning that strikes it. Now we arrive at the practical application, the part where philosophy hits the pavement. How do you actually perform the alchemy? How do you wind up the light? The process requires 3 distinct phases: the dissolution, the purification, and the reintegration. The ancients encoded this in the cycle of the sun, sunset, midnight, and sunrise. But in your body, it happens through the breath. The first phase is the dissolution of the false self. You cannot add the hue to a full cup. You must empty the humus. The technique used by the ancient Bon monks involved finding a place of absolute darkness, a cave or a dark room, and sitting with eyes open, staring into the void. In the absence of light input, the brain begins to panic. It searches for a signal. When it finds none from the outside, it switches the receiver to the inside. This is the moment the inner light begins to flicker. You might see swirls of color, geometric patterns, or flashes of blue. Science calls this phosphenes and dismisses it as neural noise. The mystic knows this is the raw material of the soul. You are seeing your own operating system. The practice is to hold your attention on these inner lights without analyzing them. By observing them, you feed them. You are teaching your brain that the internal signal is more real than the external one. The second phase is the purification through sound. This is where the word human becomes a mantra. The sound Hue is not arbitrary. In cymatics, the study of visible sound, when you chant the sound Hue into a sand plate, it creates a perfect geometric mandala, a pattern of order. When you chant chaos or scream in anger, the sand scatters. Your body is 70% water. You are essentially a walking bag of fluids waiting to be structured. When you chant Hue, pronounced like the word who but longer, you are vibrating the water in your cells into a coherent geometric pattern. You are literally turning your blood and lymph into liquid crystals. The monks do this for hours. You can do it for 5 minutes. The key is to feel the vibration in the center of the chest, behind the sternum. This is the cave of the heart. This is the furnace where the clay is fired into gold. The third phase is reintegration, or the projection. Once you have dissolved the distraction and purified the vessel, you must project the intention. You must visualize your body not as skin and bone, but as a hollow shell made of crystal, filled with rainbow light. This sounds like imagination, but recall the phantom DNA effect discovered by Dr. Peter Gariev. He placed DNA in a vacuum chamber and shone a laser through it. The DNA scattered the light in a specific pattern. Then, he removed the DNA. Physical matter was gone. But the light kept spiraling in the same pattern. The vacuum remembered the DNA. The hue remained after the humus was removed. This proves that your energetic blueprint is stronger than your physical body. By visualizing yourself as light, you are reinforcing the blueprint that will eventually outlast the clay. But what happens when a normal person tries this technique today, in the middle of a busy city? The results are often terrifyingly rapid. You stop resonating with your old life. People fall away. Jobs that felt heavy become unbearable. You might experience sudden heat flashes in the spine or a ringing in the ears that feels like a high-pitched download. This is not sickness. This is the friction of the hue burning off the dead layers of the humus. You are shedding the skin of the Earthwalker to reveal the Skywalker beneath. In 2019, a CIA declassified document accidentally confirmed the exact frequency the monks were using. They called it the frequency following response. They found that when the brain is exposed to a specific beat frequency of roughly 7 Hz, theta state, the boundaries of the body map in the parietal lobe dissolve. The soldier or spy listening to the tape would feel like they expanded to the size of the room or even the planet. They were technologically inducing the Hue-Man state. They proved that your sensation of being stuck in a body is just a frequency lock. And that lock can be picked. But why was this kept secret? Why were these texts buried in the Vatican Library or hidden in Himalayan caves? Because a world of Hue-Men is a world that cannot be controlled. A person who knows they are eternal light cannot be threatened with death. A person who knows they generate their own reality cannot be sold fear. The entire structure of our modern society relies on you believing you are just humus, weak, mortal, and in need of external saving. To reclaim the hue is the ultimate act of rebellion. It is to take the projector back from the cinema manager and start playing your own movie. Have you ever felt a sudden emptiness the instant you say, "I am," as if the words are too small to contain what you actually feel? That emptiness is not a void. It is the vastness of the light before it hits the prism. It is the potential of the creator living inside the creation. The hue is that potential. The man is the witness. And the human is the marriage of the two. You are the bridge between the dirt and the divinity. You are the place where the mud learns to shine. So the next time someone asks you what it means to be human, do not tell them about biology. Do not tell them about evolution from apes. Tell them about the light. Tell them about the prism. Tell them that we are ancient beings of color and frequency, currently playing a game of density, and tell them that the game is changing. The hue is waking up. The frequency of the planet itself is rising. What science calls the Schumann resonance has been spiking to unprecedented levels in recent years. The Earth is shaking off the humus and moving into the hue. The question is, are you moving with it? Your shadow isn't yours. It belongs to an entity the Egyptians called the Ka, the dense double. But your light belongs to the stars. The choice you make every morning, to focus on the fear or to focus on the frequency, determines which master you serve, the gravity that pulls you down to the grave, or the radiation that lifts you to the infinite. You are not just a human being, you are a Hue-Man being, and your true colors are waiting to be seen. The ritual is simple. Dissolve the dark, chant the sound, visualize the light. Do not wait for a savior to come down from the clouds. The clouds are in your mind. The savior is the frequency you choose to embody. As the Emerald Tablet states, as above, so below. As the light is in the sun, so it is in the center of your head. You hold the switch. You always have. The only thing left to do is to stop being afraid of your own brightness. Turn it on